Well, welcome back. This is the final session on our revenue cycle series. Today we're going to be discussing the common mistakes and solutions in charge capture. We've been talking a lot about best practice, so let me start right there. Do you have a best practice policy and approach to charge capture? If you don't, that's where you need to begin. Let's monitor and maintain our best practice methodologies. Now, once you put those into effect, make sure that you've documented them so they're available and referenceable by everyone who needs to see them. So now the common mistake that I often find next is failure to define and manage an organizational-wide charging policy. We talked a little about having that pricing transparency. Let's make sure we've designed a defensible policy and make sure, again, it's documented and ready to go so everyone can reference it. If you have too difficult of a policy in play, that can be hard to manage from a monitoring perspective and from an ongoing maintenance perspective. So I want to encourage you to really review it and decide how you're going to go forward. I know some folks like to charge separately for different products, different items, different service lines. I'm not going to discourage you from doing that. I just want you to review it and make sure it's just not too difficult for you to maintain on an ongoing basis. And let's talk about the assignment of the roles and responsibilities in charge capture. Have you assigned and defined the roles and responsibilities for your team? If you're familiar with Lean Six Sigma or their methodologies, they have a RACI chart. The responsible, the accountable, who you're going to consult, those are along those lines. You want to make sure that you've put that into effect. Make sure that you know who's doing what, who they're consulting, who's going to be accountable, who's going to be informed at the end. And I'm going to encourage you to trend and track. So if you've defined your policy, your procedure, your methodology, make sure that you're tracking it so that you can capitalize on any successes that come out of that. If you're having some difficulties with your adherence to new policies and procedures or new charge capture regulations that you've put into effect or have come down from the regulatory boards, then let's talk about enforcing that accountability. Let's start with your compliance. You want to make sure that your folks are compliant so that you can generate the revenue that comes along with some of these changes. Or you don't want to miss any revenue if you haven't made a potential change that you should have made. If you have any duplication of descriptions, HCPCS codes, CPT codes in your item master and your charge master, you want to review that. You want to cleanse your item master and your charge master on an ongoing basis. Your databases really do support your data integrity. I know we started way back when we started the first part of the presentation talking about the charge master and about the people who enter the information and how the bills get out and how, you have to be compliant. It's all very important. I'm stressing that as we go forward today, but I want to make sure that you get into the data as well as the practice and the methodology, because if the data is bad, then the outcome will be poor. So you want to make sure you're reviewing and cleansing. Talked about modifiers earlier. You want to make sure that your modifiers, your revenue codes have been reviewed, are up to date. That will support your best practice in charge capture. We talked a little bit about the departmental pricing concerns, whether or not you have disparate pricing, disparate descriptions from different departments for like items. You want to, again, go through that. That comes out as part of your synchronization process when you're comparing your data, your item master to your charge master, and you want to make sure that those pricing policies have been reviewed, have been synchronized, and are liked throughout your organization. Consistency implying like items and services in your cost structure are very important. I can't stress that enough to you. No one wants to find out that they can't charge for an item or that they're charging more for the item in one department or another throughout the organization, because that just promotes difficulties from a revenue integrity perspective. So again, stress that you do address those, that you're reviewing those, monitoring those, and that the people who are supposed to be monitoring those different aspects of your revenue integrity and charge practice know that they're supposed to be responsible. I want to thank you again for your time today and hope to see you back at some of our other sessions in the weeks, months, and year to come.